Welcome to the MFR Coaches podcast, where we talk about how you can create a six-figure MFR practice. I'm your host, Heather Hommel. Not only have I been practicing MFR for 11 years, I'm also a life and business coach, especially for MFR therapists. My goal is for you to understand how to get fully booked, how to talk to your clients, and how to make sure they understand what's possible for them with MFR treatment. I'm here to help you stop under-earning, overworking, and burning out. I'll lend support so you can create the MFR practice you've always wanted. Learn how you can do it too, even if you live in a tiny town, and even if you're just starting out, and even if you've ran your practice for years. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the MFR Coaches Podcast. I am joined today by one of my coaching clients, Colette Woods. Colette is the owner of Colette Woods myofascial release located in Mechanicsville, Virginia. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Heather. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. It's my favorite thing is to interview you all and find out what's going on with your business and kind of go through the process of where you were when you joined coaching to where you are now. Let's take a trip down memory lane. We met at Fascial Pelvis in Virginia was that 2023? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to talk about what that was like when we first met?
Yeah. So Leslie Mueller, my good friend at that point, and one of my MFR therapists was like, you need to meet Heather. Come on, let's go to lunch. All right. So we went to lunch and Heather is talking about coaching and how MFR only. And I'm like, why does it have to be MFR only? And I got real kind of defensive about that. And you asked the question, well, why not? Which is part of your coaching. It's like asking these questions, what if, why not? Let's explore this, which I've gotten used to and really enjoy. But at the time, it was like, I don't know that I need that. Why is that so important? And why are you telling me what to do? It was like defensive. And you just left it. You just let it be. And it cooked.
That's awesome.
It cooked for a while. And Leslie was like, have you listened to the podcast yet? And I'm like, okay, I'll listen to the podcast. She goes, So I started listening to the podcast and I'm like, this actually makes sense. This is resonating with me. I'm like, okay, all right. So I kept listening. And then I forget when you had your, like a potential client podcast. And I was on that. And I'm like, this is sounding actually really good, And then I had to go through oh gosh, is this too expensive? Is it going to be worth it? Will I participate in it or am I going to just waste the money?
I think that's a question a lot of people have.
Yeah. Like, am I going to buy this? Like I've bought other things and did not use it, and that was a big thing. And I guess when I finally decided that I wanted to leave my current full-time position, it was like, all right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And it seems like she knows what she's doing. I've talked to other therapists that have coached with her and I'm getting really great feedback. Like this is the real deal.
I love that. I appreciate that because I remember us sitting there eating and there was like this time where like I could tell like I offended you or something, like, where you were like, that's not eating. Leslie was probably like, why did I come to this lunch? But I never know what I'm going to say or do. And I can't like put a lid on like what I know or like what I know works for people. Right. And so like, I'm always like, just do this. It'll be easy. And people are like, what in the hell is happening right now? So I appreciate that even though I said things that you didn't like at that lunch, it didn't necessarily offend you, or maybe it did it in the beginning, but you were like, it still like made you curious that you were willing to listen to the podcast and like willing to listen. Cause I think other times people maybe are turned off by what I say and then they turn me totally off, right? They don't listen to the podcast, right. Don't explore, which is also fine. But I love that we had that interaction and then you eventually were like, maybe I'll peek behind the curtain and see if I can do this. Now, when we met, you were a full-time contractor for somebody else, right?
Employer, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I was the employee.
You were you were employed. Okay. What about what you were hearing me say made you feel like it would be safe to open your own practice?
Well, I was having success there. So I felt like, okay, even if a handful of these people follow me, that would be great. And I think it was the potential.
Like what's possible?
Right. What is possible? That's a good word. possible because, this is a newer career to me. I mean, I guess I've been doing it 5 years now. Still feel new,
Hmm.
as a massage therapist. But I wanted to make the most of the time working that I have left in my potential career and when I want to retire. So, like, I'm going to be 60 in January. And I'm like, okay, if I can work for another 8 years was my thought at the time, that'll be great. So, what, almost a year into it, and I've already seen so many things happen. It was the possibilities that I could do this on my own and I could do it the way that I wanted to do, and I could work less hours and I could really, really help people actually get better, not just feel better temporarily, but actually get better. And
Yeah.
I could make more connections with the medical community and have this modality seen as an authentic option to get people out of pain and to increase ranges of motion and everything else that it does.
Yeah, that's so fun. One thing I've noticed since you've joined coaching is your ability to kind of take an idea that we share and then you apply it and you run with it, right? Like, so you're getting the information, then you're trying it out, and you're not only just trying it, but you're making it work for your business and for your goals. And it feels to me like you were able to leave your employment situation fairly quick once you just made the decision, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe there was like some drama in the beginning in your brain, but how was that transition for you to go from working full time for someone else to deciding to leave and like actually having clients of your own?
So I was doing mobile
Mm-hmm.
from July 17th, 2023 until I found space. So I had a few clients, I was just testing the water. So when I started thinking about really leaving, I think you might remember one of the big catches for me was, what if I'm going to hurt their business? What if they're going to come after me? Is, the owner's husband is an attorney and all this stuff. And while the relationship with that person was great at the beginning, she began to pull out of the business more. And I didn't have that connection with the business as a whole anymore. I didn't feel as invested as I once did. So I was really concerned about getting the non-compete and hurting people's feelings. And now they'll know I'm really leaving. And
Yeah. It's dangerous, right? It
yeah,
was like dangerous.
it
Yeah.
was dangerous. And so I got coaching on it. And you're like, well, what if you just go in and ask her for it?
Yeah. Cause you didn't have your contract, right? Or you couldn't find it.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I ever had it. Who knows? So I actually went in and it was like no big deal
Yeah.
because another part of this was the daughter is the manager. So it's like lots of conversations in my head. I was imagining all these things. Yeah. So that was really great to know that I could get it, that it really didn't stop me from doing anything. And then we found out, I think, through you and through other people that, the government is saying, hey, these are not good things. We're not going to support these non-competes anymore. So they're starting to disallow non-competes. That made me feel a lot better. But once I decided through the coaching that day, it's like, okay, you challenged me to get it the next day. I was like, all right, I'm going to get it the next day.
Yeah.
So what I have found is that action, I probably knew this on some level in my brain, but taking the action decreases fear.
Yeah. Even no matter how afraid of the thing you are, like if you just take action towards it or get the answer, it erases everything because then you just have the facts. Up until that point, you're just making drama in your brain about it that's pushing you further away from getting the answer because you're afraid what the answer is going to be. The other thing I was like, well, what's the worst? The worst case scenario is you have a really tight non-compete, and then that's just going to give you information for where you can work, where you can and you can't work. That's it. And then you'll be able to make decisions.
Exactly. Yeah, that was huge. And then once I chose to fully leave, I started coaching in February. And then I decided, I met with the manager and she said, would you like to make an exit plan? And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's make an exit plan. We put it out for about 3 months. And I looked at the calendar and it was like August 10th was like looking at me in the face. That had been my wedding anniversary. And it was also the day, 5 years to the day that I went to work for them.
Oh, wow.
Like, that is it. August 10th is it. That's how I decided that. Because I was like, oh, I'll do it to the end of the month. And I'm like, I really don't want to do it, So fantastic. And then through connections, local connections, someone said, hey, my chiropractic friend is looking to rent out this room. And boom, it just happened. So I'm still sharing that with my yoga therapist friend, and it's working out beautifully.
That's awesome. And that's been just since this August. It's December 2024 right now, and we're recording this. So, what has your business been like since you opened it in August?
At first, it was a little slow as people got the word, but it's all, I mean, a few Facebook posts, but really word of mouth has been my biggest advertisement. And just going to my local coffee shop. And, I'd already loved them and we had a pretty decent relationship, really good relationship, actually. And so I would just, hang out and hand out my business cards and, you know, this person would introduce me to that
Yeah,
person.
meet people and make offers.
Yeah, I'd work on people in the shop.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of my good friends, she goes, "You worked on my shoulder for a half an hour and it's not hurt me since. I'm going to send you a review." And, it's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
I'm glad I
that's
helped.
great.
But, if they're okay with it, I'll put my hands right on.
Yeah, I think that's such a great and unique place to think about creating clients, right? Like your coffee shop. But because you have that relationship with the people in the coffee shop, like people know you there, people want to support their friends. They want to support people that they're familiar with. And just to show up and offer that, I think is just so creative and smart. And it's probably also easy for you to do because you feel comfortable there. And yeah, you like to put your hands on people, people like it. And maybe all you get out of it is reviews, but also have you created clients from doing that? Like, do they come and pay you?
Absolutely. The owner of the coffee shop is like, my anniversary for my wife, I'm late on it, but can you fit her in like in
Mhm.
January sometime? So, I see them, they know me. And then, just always talking about it.
Another interesting aspect for where you live is that a lot of people in your area are in or have been in coaching. What are your thoughts about that? Like being in that tight knit quarters with people that are in your area and that are running a similar business. How has that been for you?
It's been great. Some of them have come to see me and I would like to go see them. I haven't scheduled it yet, but
Yeah.
well, I see Leslie. My roommate is also an MFR therapist.
Okay.
And like he came over to give the chiropractic doctor the other day a demo so that she would understand how he works. And of course, he came home and I was like, she said our styles were different. And I decided I suck.
Oh,
It's like, he goes, I get that. I get that.
different doesn't mean bad.
No, it doesn't. But it's like imposter syndrome, I think is what
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was nice to be able to discuss that.
Yeah. Like have just like a real conversation.
Yeah, and with her as well. She goes, he's located in another section. Are you okay? Another part of the town. I said, absolutely. I want him to succeed.
Yeah. Well, and there's the thing is like there are enough bodies for everyone. I'm just trying to think of how many people are in the Richmond area that I alone have coached. I mean, it's more than a handful of people.
Well, we've got Rob who handles our study group. Melanie's in there. Leslie, myself, Patty,
That's five. Rain.
Rain. And then we have some people that are not on their own, but they're practicing that aren't in coaching yet.
Yeah, but that's like six people. And at one time, I think there was some overlay where all six of you were in at the same time or like have been in and out. So I think that that's really cool. And it's just evidence that everyone, like that multiple people can have. And I think out of those six, at least four have six-figure businesses or multiple six-figure businesses. And the couple that aren't there yet are on their way to having that. So it just shows that there are enough bodies for everyone. You have to make your brain believe that. Because if you spend any time thinking about somebody else's business or somebody being more successful, that's less time that you're spending believing that your business is going to work out. And it just creates spin out. And like you do different activities when you don't believe that your business is going to make it or when you think someone is taking something away from you.
Yeah, because I've referred to people because like I didn't have room. So I have people I can refer to that I trust,
Yeah.
that I've worked with. So, I mean, that's huge. It comes from what you say, that serving the client.
Yeah.
Mentality.
What is in service of the client's best interest and their results? Yeah, that's so good. Okay, so you're almost coming up on a whole year of being in the program.
Yeah.
What do you think has changed the most for you during this time? Like what's been your biggest shift?
So much less fear. Going through the models, CTFAR model,
Yeah.
has been huge for me, not just within business, but in personal life. It's like, okay, this is going on. I'm worried about it. Why am I worried about it? Let's look at it. And then if I don't like the results of it, I do it again. If I don't like the results of it, I will do it again. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So that model that you share is it's just huge.
Well, it's life changing. I mean, for my own self, when my coach taught me that, and then I got certified in teaching it, I was like, I did not know how much of my power I was just giving away to everything else, like all day long in my personal life and in my business, and how miserable I made myself based on just because I just felt out of control all of the time, but I didn't even know I felt that way. And then learning that, yeah, so
Because
life.
it's kind of like in our bodies, we get used to this tension, we get used to not being able to move, and it becomes the norm. And so we were living in this anxiety normal, and we're fine.
Yeah, or we're like constantly in fight or flight. And we're like, yeah, that's my baseline. No, how about if it's not? What would it be like if
Right,
that was not your
right,
baseline?
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, you've helped me get so many things accomplished. Like in this coaching, in this time, I got the non-compete. I decided to not take another job.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, is this, do you want to have your own business or do you want to put time in this person's business? And so I sat down and did the numbers when you were coaching me on that. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is going to limit me, making contact with medical professionals
Mm-hmm.
through my clients,
That's awesome.
which was really cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now, like I have a palliative doctor that is sending me clients,
Amazing.
which is really cool.
Yeah. Like just imagine the quality of their lives having you as part of their care team.
Yeah. It's an honor.
Yeah.
So deciding to leave my job, then cutting on online booking, huge. I was afraid of that. I was
And
afraid
you were
of
afraid of that, right? Because what
losing
was it about
control.
that?
Just losing control of the schedule. It's like,
Yeah. Doesn't it make you more in control?
it does.
I think I always tell people, I'm like, it actually makes you more in control. And the worst case scenario, if someone were to book and you actually didn't have that time available, you just change it. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's been easier for me to take time off.
Mhm.
Like, I was just up in Delaware for the Amanding and MFR 2. I took that week off. And then my daughter's birthday is December 23rd. And because of the employment that I had, I was never off much around her birthday. And I'm like, I'm taking the week off. And we're going
I
to go do
love
some
that.
cool stuff for your birthday.
Oh, I love that. And can you afford to do that too? Can you afford to take this time off?
Yes.
Are you paying yourself more than you were paid in when you were employed?
A little bit. I need to get better at the intervals
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of like, oh, I'm getting the notice that my bank account is below, is my little notification that I
Mm-hmm.
asked for. And I'm like, I haven't paid myself in 2.5 weeks. I need to go pay myself. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
those kind of things are going to be getting in the works.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like where there's these different phases of business where like you were just starting in August. So you have all of the initial freak out of going from what feels like a lot of safety when you work for somebody else because it's more guaranteed, we think, right? Even though you could
Yeah.
lose that job at any time, it's not actually guaranteed. To having to do it all yourself, that's the best guarantee that you're going to make money because you know you can depend on yourself to create it, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And then you just have a little bit of time to build that up. But I think you even submitted like in February when you joined, you had like a fully booked week, like right after you joined, which is so fun. That must have been like in your mobile practice.
Yeah. It was fully booked.
Yeah. And then in August, after you opened, you were submitting a win, like you were saying, I see the benefits of online booking and selling packages. It's amazing feeling when you get a message that someone's booked and you don't even know who they are, right? Like it's kind of fun.
Somebody just dropped $900 and it's the weekend. I didn't do anything, but I had been doing
I mean, your
I've
past
done the
self
work.
set you up for that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You can just make money 24 hours a day with online booking.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm getting more comfortable with so I'm booked through mid-February right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right. And it's like I'm getting more comfortable with, yes, I can see you. We need to place this out a little bit and then we will do your package and
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, like being calm and neutral in your body, even as you get more and more booked out. And it's not a problem that you have new clients and you're going to have to book them into March. That's okay. That's like job security. And then you can also do a lot of projections with that. If you know you're that booked out, and even if people are prepaying and you're paid ahead of time, when you are calm in your business and you know your numbers and your facts and your data, then you can put that money where it needs to go so that you guarantee that you still have the money when you go to see them in February and March, right? And it just projects even further out how long you can pay your bills and how long you can pay yourself your owner's pay, which is amazing.
Which is another thing my LLC was part of this, getting that done and finding a banker. Like I have like a relationship now with a person, which is really nice. And he's just set up 2 more accounts for me so I can have a tax account and I can have a savings account. They're all checking accounts, but
that's fine. Yeah.
Separate stuff. And then the working
capital.
That's my next thing, to like separate that out.
I think it's so smart. And now you're getting to the point where you have the money to separate it out because you have enough clients. Hey, MFR therapists, have you protected your practice yet? Running an MFR business isn't just about helping your clients to heal. It's about protecting your business too. That's why I created the MFR Coaches Legal Toolbox, a complete set of lawyer-drafted, customizable templates to make sure your practice and website are legally protected and fully compliant. Here's the deal. We've got 2 essential bundles. The website bundle for just $199. It includes your MFR website's terms and conditions, privacy policy, and disclaimer. And the policies and contracts bundle for $499 with all the must-have forms like your client intake, welcome letter, HIPAA disclosures, and special consent forms. Want the best deal? Grab both bundles and save $100. You get instant access and every template is fully editable in Google Docs or Word. No more guessing if your paperwork holds up. I've got you covered. Ready to protect your practice? Head to the link in the show notes and grab your legal toolbox today. Because when your business is protected, you can focus on what matters most, helping your clients to heal. For a limited time only, when you enter the code podcast25 at checkout, you'll save an additional 25%. Enjoy. Would you say you're fully booked since you're booked into February?
I would say that, yeah.
Yeah. How does that feel?
It feels great. I think I went through maybe a month or so ago. I was like, but what if they go away? What if they all go away?
Yeah. And also you were feeling that pressure of people want to get in and what am I going to do about it? Like I feel guilty or I feel bad. Do you feel like you're kind of through that right now or through that for the moment?
Yeah, I do. Because the more I realize that there isn't an MFR emergency, which I've heard you say, and I'm like, but isn't there? What if they're in a lot of pain? Well, then they need to go to the doctor if they're in a whole lot of pain,
Yeah. Or like maybe you would decide, yes, I do have the time. Like just because you have policies or you have days that you work, it doesn't mean that you can't make an exception if you want to. And there's just such a difference in your body and in your spirit, I think, when you can make a decision based on, is this a hell yes or a hell no? And if someone calls you and they're in pain and you're a hell yes, I want to help you, helping them from that energy versus the obligation or out of guilt or out of like, I should do this is just totally different than I'm a hell yes, let me go do this.
Yeah. Like someone, I forget who it was on coaching that was helping that doctor. So they could help the patient with the surgery. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's so good. And also being in the spirit of like, of course I want to do this, is just different than like, I have to do this, or if I don't do this, something bad is going to happen. All my clients are going to go away, which unfortunately, I think at certain parts of our journey in our businesses, we do operate from that. Like everything's going to go away tomorrow, or I have to say yes to everyone, or they're going to think I'm a bitch, or they're not going to want to come to me, or, whatever thoughts we have in our minds. But the more decisions you can make or helping your clients from that place of like, this is a yes or this is a no. It's just a calmer, more neutral place to be making decisions from. And you end up making much better decisions from that place than from that like, ugh.
Or that gimme feeling that you talk about. It's like, oh, I got to because I'm not going to make enough money. Like I had someone cancel earlier this week, Tuesday, and I had taken off like half Tuesday morning because I came back Monday from Delaware. And I was like, I've got a wait list, but I'm not booking that.
Yeah, but you could have if you wanted to.
I could have if I wanted to. It's like, no, I'm gonna block it and take that time.
Yeah. That's just nice to know that you can and to actually know factually, can I afford to do that?
Yeah, it feels good because you're so much more in control. And then things start to flow because of, like you said, the past work that you've done. It just makes it so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you did all that. All the decisions you made in the beginning of the year, last year, set you up to end the year like this. Could you imagine in February when you joined that you would be booked into the next February by the end of the year?
No.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's
It gives
awesome.
me goosebumps.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And could you have imagined when we were sitting there eating that meal and you were like, who does Heather think she is? We'd be having this conversation.
No, this is awesome. It's so good. It's like you have the model for this. You know what works. You don't have to reinvent the wheel
Right.
to have a successful business.
Yeah.
At the same time, I have heard you say over and over, this is what I suggest.
Mm-hmm.
This is your business.
Yeah. And you know it better than I do. Like, you know your life far better than I do.
Mm-hmm. It's really a lovely situation to be in
Mm-hmm.
because it's, well, number one, it's non-judgmental. You're supportive without being bossy, I guess the word is.
Wow. No one's ever told me I wasn't bossy
I
before.
don't think you're bossy. I don't think you're bossy,
I just teasing.
but you're confident
Yeah.
because you know it's worked. And it's like when you go to a therapist who's confident, you're more at ease.
Mm-hmm. Well, how good would it be in the program if you guys came to me with something and I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be terrible. But I'm sure there was a point where I was like, I mean, when I started this, I didn't know that anything I said would work because I actually myself never had a 6-figure MFR business, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I closed my business as I was headed toward. I would have hit it that year, but the shift in me came from no, it's like I knew, like when I learned the model and I learned how much better I felt and the way I could make decisions, I knew that every MFR therapist needed access to that. And the only way to give you all access to that was to become the person that told everyone. So I just like closed my business and opened up this coaching business. I got certified as a coach too before I started coaching, but because the drive for everyone to feel that way and to feel empowered and to be able to take like the skill of MFR is so valuable. So many people I knew were unable to sell it. And so then everybody was kind of in this rut of under earning and overworking, which was keeping our profession, and it still does keep our profession secretive and not mainstream. And so I'm like, everybody needs to know these tools so that you can have these businesses that are high earning. So then you can retire when you want to. So you're not overworking. And so you can really not just love your time in the treatment room and feel good about yourself and your life when you're in the treatment room, but like outside of the treatment room too, because it just spills over. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, because I'm working 3 days a week.
I love that.
I never imagined to be able to work 3 days a week, I'm on track for earning almost exactly what I was earning working, 5 days a week and under circumstances that weren't ideal,
Yeah. Because you weren't working when you wanted to work.
No, I mean, I had introduced MFR to whoever came in to me and gave them that, hey, if you don't like it, we can stop because wasn't my business, right?
Yeah.
But 15 minutes between sessions where, how it goes. You might have 2 minutes for yourself to go to the bathroom, grab a drink of water and change the table.
Yeah. And then you're back in it. Yeah.
So there's no real grounding, no real, what am I really giving this client? So now I set in half an hour between.
Mm-hmm.
Just like now I can take time. I can give them some exercises. I can rebook them myself even, I can do it all and still have time enough to be ready for the next person and be prepared.
Yeah. It just sounds like you've set yourself up to have so much ease. And while you've in 4 months or 5 months of being open for this year, have created the same amount of money that you would have made in a full year.
That is including like from February, from coaching. So when I was part-time, I made about from February 1 to August 9th,
Okay.
like 21,000. That was yearly part-time. And then August 10th through today, 27.5. So that's roughly 4.5 months.
That's amazing.
So it's like, okay.
So you kind of collapsed time. You made more money in less time.
Yes.
Working less hours.
7 months to 4 months, roughly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I'm paying my bills
You're taking time off.
I'm taking time off. I'm going to make my savings a bill for personal. And then I'm going to, you had suggested like keep a certain amount of money in the active account for the business. And then
Mhm.
when you hit that, just move it over and get it out of the way. So,
Yep. You hit your goal, then put that money to work.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all going really, really well. I can see an increase in my rate coming
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay, I selected this number because it felt good to me,
Yeah.
right?
Which is an option, right? I'm only giggling because so many people do that. And then they're like, and now I need to raise it, right? And I'm like, yep, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing just because it's like,
No, I
it's
think it was appropriate.
what
I think
happens.
because it was like, I was earning, how much was I earning per session? Like maybe $37 per session at my other job.
Yeah.
Plus tips. Tips were big. Now I don't really receive tips anymore, but I went from thinking in my head, okay, $37, $125. But I also have expenses.
Yeah. So what you actually take home is a lot less than,
Yeah.
but it's hard. I think it's hard to like wrap your mind around that when you go from being an employee to a business owner, because it does seem like you're getting this, like all of that money. And a mistake that people make is they take all of that money and forget, like, oh, but you have rent and you have seminar fees and you have coaching fees and you have insurance fees and you've got linens and, like everything that comes with it
But I've been able to keep up with my continuing ed and have it all paid for like months before I go
through your business.
through my business.
Yep, which is exactly how it should be. You can take as many seminars as you want, but your business should be paying for it. And it shouldn't be at the expense of your owner's pay.
Right. Now, my next shift is, I think, seminars aren't vacation.
No.
That's another shift for me because, like, this Airbnb, I got this last time. I was just like in heaven because I had so much space all to myself.
Yeah.
My daughter is my roommate.
You can still make that a luxurious experience, but it is not vacation because you're working. Yeah.
But it felt great.
Yeah. It's okay for you to enjoy it and have a great time. Yeah. It's hard not to.
It was terrific. So yeah, and another thing is put things on the calendar.
Yep.
These things it's like things I've heard all my life, but it's the right time in my life that they're all congealing. Everything's coming together.
Yeah. What do you think, like you being able to have this kind of a business where you're at right now in your life? You said you were turning 60 in January.
January 12th.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
I think you and Sarah Martin might have the same birthday.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And she's turning 50. I hope it's okay if I tell people that on the
Happy
podcast.
birthday, Sarah.
Yeah. Happy birthday, you two. So one thing is like demographic wise, there are a lot of women 40, 45 plus, all the way up to 70 that are in and have been through this program. I just think it's amazing for you all to have the highest income earning years, like right up into retirement, and then to be able to pad any deficits that you have in your investment accounts because you have the money to do it. So if anything, if nothing else, if you were to stay in a position of and become an even higher income earner, hitting six figures in 2025, I think is definitely doable for you. And being able to invest like half of that money to get you to wherever you need to be in retirement so you can be a seven-figure retiree is like what I want to see for all of the women that are in the program. You guys can all retire as millionaires.
I think that's absolutely doable.
Yeah.
It really is. So I've been kind of playing around with numbers and like coaching call last week. We were doing some models and I want to go back and revisit that for myself because I do want to do that. And I also want to look at some point, things that will increase my income that are not hands-on. Like we've got the wonderful MFR cards and we've got other coaching that's available that people do. And I really would like to develop something in that vein as well. I think that would be.
Yep. There's so many possibilities. There's so many things. And I think we're the only ones that limit ourselves to what's possible. Like I just came up with another offer selling this legal toolkit that's going to be available soon, if not already out by the time people hear this. And that's going to be a great opportunity to help MFR therapists with contracts and website policies, their own business policies and everything so that people can't do chargebacks. And so you're legally protected and your policies and disclosures and all of that is so obvious to your clients. Like there's no gray area for what is expected from your clients and from you. And to be able to do that one time, get that all set up and then just sell it passively is going to be a really cool thing. I've not had like a passive item that people could buy before. So it's exciting. It's like you just have to be able to have the space to dream about what you want something to look like. And then all you need to do is come up with a plan to get there and then fail forward until you get there.
That is on my radar for sure.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome.
Okay, so what would you say to people that are thinking, they're where you were, maybe they just finished massage school or they're just a couple years out of massage school. They've heard about MFR, they've taken a couple of classes, but they're not sure they would ever want to be MFR only. And by the way, you don't have to be MFR only to be in my program. I've relaxed, you guys. I've relaxed in my older years where if you are a massage therapist and you have MFR training, you can do both modalities if you want to. I think sometimes after being in coaching, you'll change your mind, but definitely works for both. But like, what would you say to people that are kind of where you were?
If they've had MFR training? Yeah, the biggest thing with my thought process around MFR and MFR only, if you're applying the principles of MFR, of not being forced, of listening to your client and having communication, and of time, that you're practicing MFR. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. You don't have to wait to be expert to decide to be MFR only or to offer MFR to your clients.
Right. Like I got back from MFR 1 and John's advice was start immediately. And so I did.
Yeah.
And people were like going, what are you doing to me? This is crazy feeling, And it just reinforced the whole thing and encouraged me and excited me about it. So jump into it. Make the offer. Whatever it is, make the offer. They can always say no, and it's okay if they say no. Maybe it's not for them right now. Maybe they'll remember it and come back later. Maybe they won't, but that's okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about making offers now and having people say no? Like, does it affect you as much now as it would have before you were in coaching?
No, because I had a client that called, a new person, and I talked to him last week, and I'm like, now, if you are interested in doing this and you want to purchase more than one and save some money, I do have a program where you can purchase. I do 8 for $900 right now. And so I'm putting that out there. Sometimes it works really well for people, and sometimes people rather pay the regular fee. Totally up to you. And I'm quiet.
Yeah.
And they can make their own decision. They don't need anybody pressuring them. Well, he got off the call with me and he booked 4 sessions prepaid with tip.
At full price.
At full price.
Amazing.
This is after a conversation.
I love it.
The right people come to you. You don't want to talk somebody into being your client.
Yeah. Well, and I think when you're not feeling graspy and you are like in that there's enough bodies for everyone here energy, you are putting out this different energy into the world, which attracts the most well-qualified, best clients. And there'll always be a squeaky cheese that gets in there that's annoying or whatever. But because you have all of these tools, it's not going to matter. Like you're going to decide that patient is the best fit for you because they found you and they're in your office today, and you are going to treat them with the same amount of love and attention that you would treat a quote unquote best fit client. I feel like it's our job to make everyone that comes in our mind, like to decide that they are best fit because all they had to do was find you and get themselves into the office. And of course, they need to follow your policies and everything. But I really do think when we're not judging them and like needing them to be a certain way, we can really show up, like do our own management to do our best to treat them where they're at without them needing to do anything to make us feel better.
Right. Really good point.
Yeah. Because people are dealing with a lot of shit. People have terrible things happening all the time that we have no idea about and we'll never know. And if they want to come in and get our care, like we should be ready, willing, and able to provide it as long as they're following our policies,
Yeah. I try not to look for problems. And because you know the rules, you make the rules, you can break the rules when you want to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people decide not to have policies because they want to be flexible. And I say the more clear your policies are and the more policies you have for every situation, the more flexible you can be because you know what the boundaries are. When there's no boundaries, there's no ability to be flexible. So there's no boundary.
That's a big thing about what your program offers also. So boundaries was a huge thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I were married 30 years and he passed about 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got into personal training and all this other stuff. And then I got encouraged to go to massage school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was a fitness technician at Imperial Plaza, fitness, senior living. Okay. And I was also a water fitness instructor for like 25 years. And then when he passed, I was like, well, I'm already training people under the PTs and the OTs. So I'd learned a lot from them. And I already work at the gym. So why don't I become a personal trainer? I can make more money that way and it'll be fun. So I did that. A functional movement was my big thing. So worked a lot with seniors. And then my good friend who's my roommate now, who's an MFR therapist now, encouraged me to go to massage school. And then later I was able to help him and encourage him to go to massage school. So it's been super cool. So anyway, I never understood boundaries. I didn't even know it. I didn't know what it was until after he passed. Very codependent. Good marriage, but it was very codependent. And so that's what I've been learning. And so in your program, it just reinforced it. It's like, it's okay to say no
Mm-hmm.
and not, and you don't have to get upset about it. Just no, no, no. It's complete.
I love it. It is. Yeah. You don't have to explain. Yeah. You just say no and smile. I think this is great too that you shared, like you're a single woman who's about to be 60 and it was safe for you. Well, maybe it wasn't safe for you to spend the $3,000, but like looking back, do you think that like was one of the safer investments you made?
One of the best investments I've ever made, honestly. And I made it back within like 3 months.
That's amazing.
I've got things to do. This Colette is a whole different Colette than what I used to be.
Yeah.
As far as confidence level, as far as, like you say, boundaries.
Yeah.
And taking more action than I've ever taken in my whole life. So everything that I have done, all the people that I have met, those people I have trained way back when are clients now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just so beautifully aligned. I could have never imagined.
That's so cool. I love this. I've got things to do, right? And nothing's going to stop you because you're so clear on what's possible for you and creating the pathway to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. So where do you think you are a year from now?
A year from now, I will be earning, I'd like to say twice as much.
Okay. So that would put you at what? Almost 100K? 75K?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. What's like the goal where like you feel a little ill saying it out loud?
Like 200K.
You'd like to hit a 200K year?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's totally possible. I think we're going to have to raise your rate for sure.
Yeah. If I get a passive offer in there as well, that's going to help a whole lot.
Yeah. But I'd like to see you hit it without a passive offer.
Okay.
So then your passive offer is just extra.
Investing, like you said.
Because what if you could hit it with both things, like your hands-on and your passive offer? Then you'd have to be at 400K. I just like to say these things to people because like that's what's possible, but you have to think.
Yeah, it's a little scary. That makes me a little scared.
I know. Oh my God, what am I going to do with all that money?
What is it? What did you say? What's the word I think you coined it. Terrasited?
Terrasited. Yeah, it's terrasiting.
Yeah, that's it.
My coach, actually, Tavana, said that to me.
Well, it's accurate.
Yes.
Because I felt a whole lot of terrasited the first few months.
Mm-hmm.
But it never felt like it couldn't be done.
Yeah, I love that. Because some people do come in and they're like, they hear what people are doing and they decide, oh, I'm behind. So like, I can't, this isn't for me. Versus hearing what people are doing and being like, oh shit, like if they're doing that, I can do that. And diving in to see like, okay, here's where I'm at. Here's where I want to be. What am I going to map out to get there? Because there's so many ways to do your business inside this program. I will lay out a framework and I will give you lots of tools, but ultimately you get to decide what does your business need and what does it need right now? And where is it going? And how do I want to map that out?
And that was a fear of mine. It's like, at first it was like, well, what if I don't do this right?
I know, but there's no right way, right?
Am I making the best decisions for myself right now? Is it going to be detrimental if I don't? Well, if you don't take any action at all, you're not moving forward. And that's what all of my models came back down to. I won't be moving my business forward. I won't be moving my business forward.
That's why even setting your rate, like how you're like, oh, it just like felt good or whatever, is actually fine as a starting place. And the only thing that happens when you do that is you end up needing to raise it again. So you don't spare yourself any of the discomfort. We think we're going to. So I'm so sorry. You're not going to spare, like, because you're going to go through it now, because what's your rate now? 125?
Yes.
I am guessing it's going to be a lot higher than that when you go to set it. But the difference is you'll do it quickly. You'll change it on your website and we'll be off and running. And then someone's going to pay it and you'll be like, okay, everything is fine.
Yeah. Someone just recently told me they just had their first client pay their new rate and they were actually nauseous.
I mean, yeah, you'll be nauseous because you feel like you're going to get in trouble, right? You think, oh, who am I to get paid this? Who am I? Especially when you're not used to getting paid that much money and it might seem too easy, actually. But that's why we're here, right? We can talk about it and have these conversations because where else can you openly talk about how much money you're making, what you're charging, like what your client did or said that like has your panties in a bunch? Like, where else can you talk about that where everybody has this coaching tool and there's like literally no one is jumping in to increase the drama that you already have.
No, you can't do that because so and so down the street doesn't charge that much.
Yeah, there's none of that.
That annoys the mess out of me.
Yeah,
On these other massage groups that I'm on, and maybe I should just get off of them on Facebook.
probably.
I need to raise my rate. And everybody chimes in with, well, look around you and see what that was price charging. And I go in and say, don't look at them. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, what do you need it to be and what do you want it to be? Because that's really your only limiting factor is your inability to know what you want. And it's highly uncomfortable when it's like, no, I just want to charge this. Like, I just want this much income. And it's only uncomfortable until you decide to create the safety around it by normalizing it, by actually charging that and seeing if people do pay it. And they will. 100% of your clients will pay your rate no matter what it is. You might only have two clients, but if they're paying you $500 an hour, like those are your two clients. You know what I mean? You probably don't need a lot if you're charging that much. And I'm not saying for anyone to go out there and charge that. I'm just saying 100% of your clients will pay your rate.
Yeah.
Ooh, so exciting. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
So taking the fear away in those models and through the coaching, it's like looking at the facts and then retouching the emotions to see if it aligns with your decision. It's a balance of facts and emotion. But if one or the other is in charge, then you're going to be off balance.
Yeah. Well, and facts are neutral, right?
Yes.
So it's almost always our thought about the facts that creates our emotion. So how do you balance the thought or how do you get the thought closer to a feeling that you want to feel versus the yucky stuff? But I also want to just give a caveat there because there's this idea that like the more happy and easier feelings are better than like the feelings we have of like anxiety and fear and chaos. It's not that one or the other, like they're both equally valuable and one is not good or bad. So it's just the ability to know which feeling is creating that vibration you're having in your body. And is that the feeling that you want to be in charge or not?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that feeling cause you to do or not do? And do you want that running the show or do you want a different feeling running the show? Because we're sometimes you're going to want to feel bad. You know, when you have a death in the family or something dramatic happens, like you don't want to feel happy about that. And you don't need to feel like that's not the goal. It's like, no, actually just feel bad right now. Feel what that feels like in your body and be able to know, like, you know, I'm experiencing grief right now. We don't have to be in a hurry to remove that grief. Like that grief needs to be felt or it's just going to keep on coming back.
Good point. It just helps you trust yourself. If you can look at the facts and be neutral, like you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
and then and be honest with yourself, then it does allow you to learn how to trust yourself more. And so you are more confident, like when you're delivering your rate, like the news. You don't take it personally if someone opts out,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then it does, I don't know, it causes an ease or it creates an ease in yourself and how you respond to different things and how your business grows, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like what you said is like that confidence and the ease also is like this willingness to not be afraid to fail. All business is your fails and not quitting. Everything we do, like if we make a decision and then we have to make a new decision, so many people will not make that original decision because they might have to make another decision. Like they might have been wrong. But your willingness to just make a decision and then make the next best decision is the best and fastest way to grow your business, knowing that you are going to get it wrong. But that's fine. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. And just knowing that you can trust yourself enough to make the next best decision and be willing to get it wrong. It's okay. I've made lots of bad decisions, but like they all got me here.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you on the call the other day when I said like audacity, delusion, and desire is what built my
Yes.
business?
I wrote it down.
I did too. I was like, that was great.
That was awesome. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't used to people like at our first meeting, like being audacious, being so confident. And I'm just like,
Yeah. Now this is like this kind of conversation. You've normalized it for yourself by surrounding yourself with people or like with a coach that talks like this, right?
yeah. So yes, you're quoted often.
Ah, so that's so fun.
You're quoted often. You're quoted
I
often.
love it. That's so fun. All right. Well, I appreciate you being here and sharing your business journey and what it's been like to be in coaching for almost a year and how much you've changed both personally and professionally throughout the journey.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, it's been tremendous.
And you've got things to do, so don't forget.
I do for sure.
All right. Where can people find you, Colette?
I am in Mechanicsville, Virginia at Colette Woods myofascial release. I am open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay. Do you have a website?
Yes, it's tinyurl.com/Colette Woods MFR.
Okay, great. So everybody go check out Colette Woods. And also if you're in the area, get on her schedule. You might have to book in advance. So if you're going to be in town, get on her books. Maybe you're coming in for a seminar. They have a lot of seminars in Richmond, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just had moved here, so that was cool.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. So that would be a good opportunity to get in with her or call her so she can work you in if you're going to be there for a seminar. All right. Well, for everyone that is listening and joining us today, thank you so much for your time and your attention. And if you have things to do and you want a bigger business and an easier business, a business where you feel in control, I really encourage you to join my Foundations coaching program and stop what isn't working and start doing the things that are working. We would love to have you. You can find more information on the program by going to www.themfrcoach.com/foundation for all of the information and to join today. And I will see you all next week on another episode of the MFR Coaches Podcast. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a minute and rate and review the podcast. I appreciate it. For more information, please follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The MFR Coach. And check out my website, www.themfrcoach.com for more information. If you are currently not working 20 hours or less and making six figures in your MFR business, I want to help you change that. Make sure you tune into the show and get on my email list so you never miss out on important trainings and information. To be the first to find out when we are enrolling next for my 12-month Business Foundations coaching program, get on that email list at www.themfrcoach.com/join. Inside this program, you'll learn how to raise your rate, overcome objections, and sell MFR. You'll become the MFR therapist that never under-earns and never burns out. It's up to us to make MFR mainstream, and it starts with you and your successful MFR practice. See you next week.